గారు
Going
మీరు
live.
co-host అయ్యారా?
Ready.
యా రవి గో లైవ్ యూట్యూబ్.
Yes, sir. It's live on YouTube. Yes, sir. We have gone live.
ప్లీజ్ రికార్డ్.
Gurubhyo Namah. So firstly, you all know that the pandemic has hit so hard. It has affected each and every one of us. Majorly, it has resulted in schools shut down all across the world. Globally, can you believe over 1.2 billion children are out of the school classroom? So what? It has also left some positive vibrations too, majorly in the education system. Good morning, good evening, and namaste to utsAhin. First of all, wish you all a very happy Science Day. A warm welcome to you all for today's session on the topic, which is very, very important in today's education, reimagining education in post-pandemic India. This session would be the part 4 of the series of relevant topics. So before getting to the actual session, I would like to firstly welcome today's guest speaker, who's a real inspiration to many students, Srinivas ji, who is called the maestro of innovation and technology. True motivator to lakhs of students. Mr. Srinivas Garu, he has just finished a session from ISRO, I think, and thank you, sir, for joining us despite your busy schedule. So I will also like to especially welcome our dear utsAhin's guest who joined us today over Zoom and watching the session live. So I would like to proudly welcome our inspiration, the founder of utsAhin, Mr. Ramreddy Garu, and the core team and the execution team who always strive to make utsAhin an incredible platform. So with this note, without any delay, let's start today's session with a prayer by Mrs. Vasuki ji. Ma'am, over to you.
Sangatatvam samvadatvam sambho manasi janata sangatatvam samvadatvam sambho manasi janata devabhagam yatha purve sanjnana upasati devabhagam yatha purve sanjnana upasati samano mantrah samitihi samani samanam सहचितमेष समानेव आहुतिः समाना हृदयानिवः समानमस्तु ॐ मनो यथा वः सुसहसति सङ्गच्छ त्वं संवादत्वं सम्भो मनसि जानता सम्भो मनसि जानता.
Thank you, Vasuki ma'am, for making this evening more vibrant with the prayer. So it's time for the talk on today's topic by Srinivasji. So before giving the stage to Srinivasji, let me introduce him with his brief profile. So Srinivas Garu is an accomplished engineer turned educator with a lofty goal of inspiring high school students, children in India. He was awarded as the best teacher award from Educational Special Magazine and the best mentor in Tana Global Science Fair 2013. He has turned as an entrepreneur and started a company called Power Sense to research, design, manufacture high quality power inverters in Hyderabad. So with the goal of increasing practical science skills and nurturing scientific thought process, he has traveled across all the major cities in India to visit as many science fairs as possible. So on YouTube, he has shared more than 1,500 videos that he captured during the visits. To pass on this knowledge, observations, and to motivate students, he visited more than 500 schools to talk to nearly 3 lakh students. He has supported thousands of students over phone, email, and Facebook over the last few years whenever they had any doubt while building a working model for the science fair. So there are thousands of students who got inspired from his mentoring. So one example I would like to quote here today. So there are 2 young brothers, Shivaram and Dashikram, who are just 3 years and 5 years old, who are now called the Solar Brothers of India, who could make a student solar study lamp by getting inspired by his 5-minute mentoring as part of the school science fair project. So on the eve of National Science Day celebrations, being a part of such great nationwide celebrations with a wonderful question in his mind says, how do I raise scientific temperament in the school going children? So he has taken an oath and giving clear message to our future generation. So let's go green. Let's save Mother Earth. Let's keep Mother Earth cool. Let's work with the global energy, the sun energy. So Srinivas Garu is also part of mentoring track as a regional mentor of change, RMOC, Atal Innovation Mission, AIM, Niti Aayog, supporting the greater cause of Make in India, Made in India, Skill India at School India, Inventive India, Innovative India. So while I was personally speaking to you over the call today, sir, I could sense the real passion that you have to build a more vibrant and positive India. Thank you so much, sir. And over to you. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much.
Srinivasji.
Yeah. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much, Sai Charan, for the nice introduction about my activity. And firstly, I must do my namaskara and pranams to all participants today in our Zoom call, utsAhin. So good evening to all of you. And then I'm thankful to invite to this session. And I respect and namaskar to my parents, those who have given me the birth. And then my all gurus, science gurus especially, because on this National Science Day celebrations eve, that I wanted to recollect all my gurus and their knowledge imparted towards my brain. so that I can serve all the students of our nation. So, as the title given to today's our talk, reimagining education post-pandemic. So this is really a wonderful area that we are really going to discuss through science perspective. In fact, today I'll be discussing for this next coming 30 minutes given to me in 10 different points, especially science. The first fundamental question I feel myself that we must ask with our students that where it is. The science is in the books or beyond books, where it is. So might be my session goes like a kind of questionnaire, but I request all of you to find better solutions for this kind of questions, and then let us work together collaboratively to develop better solutions and best practices so that the productive education comes on. So the moment we say education, I have a fundamental question. So what is the best definition to this word education? And in fact, what is the measure of success of a student from parents' point of view? That's another, because in India, basically, parents are following some standards, like they look for their children success. So that's where they put a direction. But other way around, what I have come from, right from my schooling, so I'm working within a different fashion, with a passion. So I never compromised whatever I feel like doing. So that's where I felt myself. I named it as happy schooling. So almost after near about 40 years of my life, I just started understanding, is the happy schooling going on in India or not? Then with my little effort of understanding the students from my cousin children or the different schools, I felt myself, okay, I need to go a lot of various different school managements, because in India, the education system is entirely different, because there are government schools with the state government boards, and then there are CBSE schools, and there are ICSE schools. Like there are many different school management systems what we have in India. But however, in my childhood days, hopefully I'm little more fortunate enough, as at that time only government schools and many different kind of schools or children are from various backgrounds. We used to study together, so share together much. But however, this time many disparities in the school education. But however, governments are trying their level best, and special schools are developing their own syllabus and curriculum and whatnot. But however, when I started working with all these different school management schools, mainly I'm focused to understand what is the kind of wisdom children are gaining. So who really understands what is knowledge, what is wisdom? So in fact, how a kid gains the wisdom. So before that, education system, is it really helping them to understand the difference between the knowledge and the wisdom? So they are gaining knowledge, no doubt, through various good books, well drafted. In my childhood, all only bicolor books, but these days all multicolor books with a lot of well-defined printing techniques and three-dimensional way, and the latest technologies what we have today. And even after, this pandemic time, during the pandemic time, thanks to technology, which helped us to do something, during even the pandemic time, because of the technology, we try to reach out to the children and try to support. It helped us to understand what best solutions we can really design and work with children to make use of their time, because we cannot afford to lose their time, because they are the upcoming generations and they are the pillars of every nation. So that's where earlier before, February 2020, I never know that this kind of Zoom call or the digital platforms and then the YouTubes, all these things, I'm not really well acquainted with all that. So physically, I used to go all the way. Even for a 3-hour session, I used to go near about 30 hours journey and all I used to do. I cannot really fly because I need to carry all my demonstrative stuff. So that is really very high expensive to carry all the heavy weights and all. So I had to literally go on to the train schedule system. So suppose if I wanted to serve a school, a Patak school or Modi school at Rajkot, all the way near about 30 hours I had to travel. There's no other way for me. So that's where a lot of time used to go away. So because of the pandemic, this is the opportunity for us to raise ourselves so that now today, the time what we require to reach a railway station, within the time we can complete the session as well. So that way it has given us a great platform for various ways, though initially March 2020 or April 2020 and all, we are in trouble. What kind of digital platform we need to select and we need to buy and all that. So a lot of people are making money onto all of our difficulties and all. That's nice. But anyway, once again, coming back to science perspective of today's my talk, as rightly, firstly, I just mentioned about various science. Science is there in the books or somewhere else. This is the first fundamental question that we all need to discuss. And also, these days, we more talk about in India that all the students more are focusing, diverting, and taking an option into engineering side. Many of them. If you just ask them, a lot of students will say that engineering, and a lot of girls will say, yeah, I'm going to take the medical sciences like MBBS and all. But these are the only two professional courses they always opt. But we need to really make them understand. In fact, of course, since last 3 years, children are trying to understand there are n number of various ways because of online sessions. They are well connected to various resource persons and they understand now there are many other ways. But however, we need to make them understand how they can become wealth creator. That's another important area. So how they can be wealth creator. So before they are going to be wealth creator, and then how we can really make them understand how they can be prepare as an entrepreneur also. What is the need of preparing them an entrepreneur so that they can provide more employment as well products like why I means not only import and India can also export. So that's another important area which I really focused since last almost nearly 9 years now. I raised children interest, in a hands-on making. Like, I really believe like Skill India, whatever our Prime Minister mentioned. Then I said, okay, Skill India supposed to take place right from the school India. So I just mentioned Skill India at School India is my topic developed. So that's one wonderful resource I developed for school children, especially. So scientificstudents.com/circuitlab.html is a wonderful resource. I just felt myself to prepare our children because I'm a tinkerer right from my childhood days. So I used to tinker a lot, many thought kind of things. And then I used to make a lot of things. So that is how kit-based learning can help children to understand a lot many science activities. So I have chosen the area of like electric and electronic parts and all because my childhood days all are, made in Japan and these days all made in China. So why can't India do all that? So I said, now and then India can also make all that. So we need to prepare our children, understand we don't have to buy, we don't have to import, we can also make them and export. So that is what is an attitude I'm trying to develop within the school children. That is called the Children's Circuit Lab, which is the program I developed and which is successfully I've trained many thousands of children all across the nation through that program. And those who are interested, they can always browse the link which I have said, and I can share the link later. That's one area. And that's all about skills. Skills must be important. And that's where even NEP 2020 also mentioned about it. They are going to implement it very nicely. Right from the 6th grade onward, children are going to be put on to making hands-on activity-based learning. That's very nice idea. That's supposed to take place almost 2-3 decades earlier itself. As I rightly mentioned, what I have observed the last 30 years, what is that we are producing? So positively, we are celebrating tomorrow, 28th February, as National Science Day. Every National Science Day, I'm trying to do my level best. Not only that, on the National Science Day, every day I'm trying to do whatever best I can do for the entire my country. In fact, how do I raise my first question, my fundamental question, first question in my mind, like how do I raise the scientific temper? Because scientific temper can create lot many wonders. So before that, we need to understand what exactly is a scientific temper, which is what is mentioned as a fundamental right in the Constitution of 51A part. Okay, and this is the prime time, though I'm trying to work on it since last almost a decade. So now country is looking, is really working with the scientific temper throughout the nation and through various programs. And Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, is also really working very hard to develop scientific temper through various concepts all across the nation. But according to me, design a program and pushing a program is not sufficient. Ultimately, how it is getting connected to the expected targeted, reach out, that's another most important. A kind of accountability. That is what I felt myself personally, which is missing. So, though once, a lot of people asked me, like, you are a single man army, like you are doing your own, and how long you can do that? What is the output you can expect out of a single man army? And all that, a lot of times, a lot of people of my close people, and they're all asked me. But ultimately, what is my answer to that question is very simple. Like, once Mother Teresa said, what we all think doing a drop in the ocean, but however, ocean would be less because of that particular missing drop. So as she did that drop, and then can't I do some milli drop of it? Because I believe very strongly a drop makes a ocean. So can't I start doing it a single milli drop so that all of you can make milli drops and become a drop, and the drop makes a big ocean, so that definitely it is going to bring out a big change. That's what is required. Change is a continuous process. Sometimes I also feel about GDP. We are proudly saying our Indian GDP is raising. Very nice, very interesting. But sometimes the question what I'm feeling, according to the GDP growth, are we raising the happiness of the people? So happiness and the GDP are getting connected. Is there any proportionality between them, or somewhere we are missing in the race of GDP, the concept of happiness? Because I believe as we are human beings, and then all living beings must have the right of enjoying the happiness. Without happiness, doing whatever, you all know that where we are going to end with that. That's another, because what I personally felt in this last 20, 30 years, why people are making money-making machines. So we are human beings, we are natural, so we are in nature, we are from nature, we have to collaborate with nature. So why we are trying to go against nature, saying that this is that is that, and all this whatnot, all destruction, why not construction? So that is only possible through the happy schooling. Because I strongly believe happy schooling, happy children, happy nation, peaceful globe. This is what I really feel. And another way, how we can raise critical thinking within the school children so as to make them creative children. Because creative children are going to greatly help us, because they are going to become inventors and innovators. And we know for sure, recently in this pandemic time, we have seen, suppose the virus, but ultimately to face the virus, vaccine is the weapon. So vaccine has come from our Indian scientists day and night, continuous hard work. We have seen at Hyderabad, Bharat Biotech and Serum Institute, whatnot. So all these vaccines, not only for India, we have exported to many countries and saved and proved our the core ethical humanity. That's what is a Indian history. So let it be. So in that is possible because of the Indian creativity. And a lot of times we are proud that Indians are the ones who developed the concept of zero and Susruta is the one who made everyone understand how surgery can take place, whatnot. So definitely Indians have done a great thing, like right from the beginning in ancient. But these days, since last almost 30, 40 years, what is happening? If I take any eminent personality of India, their date of birth is before independence. After independence, we are more free to do. But why this is missing? So even if you take Dr. Kalam or even the Science Day celebrations, our C.V. Raman, Nobel Prize winner, 1930, way back, almost after 80 years, it's going to be 100 years, but population of India is going to be 150 crores. I always used to say, I means India, India means intellectuals, full of intellectuals. But however, our Indian intellectuals, what's happening? Why that it is not really happening? Is that a Nobel Prize organization not interested in anymore giving to India, or we ourselves are not reaching to that level? This is a question always rings in my mind. So that's where I said, no, let me take a social responsibility on my shoulders so that I can trigger and ignite. That's where fortunately I'm there with Dr. Kalam for some times. And then once Dr. Kalam, I think 31st March 2013 at Hyderabad IICT Auditorium, we are conducting a 2-day conference. At that time, Dr. Kalam mentioned about it, igniting young minds. So after he started taking rest at Rameswaram, I felt myself, if anyone typing scientific students at Google, that must reflect igniting young minds, because to recollect Dr. Kalam's statement. So igniting young minds, I know young minds, I'm working with young minds, but what is that I'm really doing with those young minds? How I'm igniting them? That's another important point which I thought about it. But I understood later, after another 1 year of research of my own work itself, then yeah, there's the energy every single Indian student has got. They are, and also Dr. Kalam mentioned, we are children are born scientists. At that time, I took really, it's a amazing to me understand like how children can be scientist right from his birth. I took nearly 1 or 2 years to make me understand myself. Yeah, that's the kind of inquisitiveness what Kalam sir found out. And then it is there right from the birth itself. But the quality of inquisitiveness and the questioning minds are what happening by the time they are reaching 10th class, they are becoming like touch me not students. If you try to meet them, they are as if feeling that they know everything. But actually, if you just go and greet the primary school children, and they'll jump on you, and that's what even Sai Charan also mentioned yesterday with one of the kids' success here. Really, it's wonderful feeling. That's where I mentioned in my Facebook account also about that boy, like Shivaram and his brother. That's why they named them as Solar Brothers as well. So like every week, every month, I come across a lot of success from the school-going children and all through that little mentoring and all what we really, that's what is a ignition. The strength is there within them. Only the thing we are trying to ignite them in a possible manner. Like we are just trying to make them understand in which direction. That's what is more important in Indian education system. We need to work with their internal instinct. We need to find out the internal instinct so that according to that direction that we need to put input. Otherwise, if you put every single student in a same channel, then what happens? They're losing their interest. Basically, every single student is unique. So we are not trying to understand, that's a measure, not that all the schools, not all the times, some majority of the times I'm mentioning about. So in fact, for this particular critical thinking and creative thinking, what are the best things that I have developed according to me? Like I raised a lot of questions. I just recollected from my childhood. At this point in time, for this session, I just recollect and mention 1 or 2 more questions about that. Maybe from my 3rd grade, I remember from first fundamental question I asked myself, like once my father asked me to switch off my portico light, I just did it. And after that, again, I switched it on. And then he said, okay, I'm asking you to switch it off. I said, okay, I did it. And then again, I switched it on. And after 2-3 times, he said, are you mad? No, I'm not mad. I'm trying to understand something. What is that you are trying to understand? Switching on, switching off. That will go bad. Oh, this is another question that I have in mind, that why the bulb will go bad if I switch it on, switch it on. Every day it is, you are doing, it's not going bad. So, but now why it is going bad? Immediately switching it on and immediately switching it on. Another question in my mind. So that is a kind of observation I had in my friend. And that experiment, he asked me after 5 minutes, then what is the first question you have? Then I said the distance, the Portugal light is very far, 100 meters away from the switch. Now I'm trying to understand, if I switch on the water in a tube, it is taking near about 30 seconds to reach the end of the tube after 50 feet. But this is not taking any time. I could not calculate the time. I took your watch and trying to see the seconds needle. I could not even understand even 1 single second. It is going very fast. I could not calculate how fast it is reaching the bulb. So that I wanted to understand. This is first fundamental observation in my 3rd grade. I had it. Maybe that because of that question, when I'm trying to figure out how it happens, I think probably that has given me a lot of challenge to prepare me as an electrical and electronics man of this nation, so that today I can proudly say that that kind of fundamental questions made me more and more fascinated towards understanding science. That's where behind me, that great man, the father of electricity, is there behind me to power the all our children to the most powerful personalities of the globe. So I think not only that fundamental question, there are many questions. Such kind of questions I raised and recollected from my childhood, and I wrote them on some place. Even I posted them in my website as well. And then near about 1,000 questions I prepared. And as and when I go to various schools, and then I take out some of the questions and I ask them. Suppose all my questions looks very simple, but the reason I ask those kind of very simple questions, what Albert Einstein said is, if you can't explain simple, which means you don't understand well enough. So I don't want to take all the 40 years of my life experience in the school children in the given time of 1 hour or 1.5 hours. That's where what I'll ask them very small, tiny questions with the I wanted to give them an idea. That is the way that you need to think. So you need to raise your questioning minds. You need to continue questioning minds. In fact, children have their questioning mind. They are very inquisitive because of that regular education system, what we have continued since last 30-40 years also. So maybe that is a place like question answers and marks and ranks, all this. But this time, yeah, definitely I must thankful to the various, systems that they're really trying and help children to continue the original thinking. That's what is very important. Let them allow, think as much as they can. That is more important, because as I rightly mentioned, that imagination is always more than important, because if you imagination is more than important than knowledge, because knowledge is very limited. That from whichever book they refer. So, of course, I'm not against book reading. That's where my special collected books are there in front of you all. scientificstudents.com/books.html is a wonderful collection which I did since last 10 years. Those who ever given me any honorarium or whatever, that I spent all that money to select special science books from all across the universe, like whichever country I feel. And I used to request my friends to buy that and send money to them, and then get them here and put in front of the children and read the books and prepare the questions. And because the special collections are always important, not only the syllabus-based books. Syllabus-based books are anyway, they are there. And the teachers of the schools are going to help them understand the syllabus through the syllabus-based books and all. But beyond the syllabus, children have to get connect to various resources. So those resources are very important. That's where I just mentioned in my website, there is student resources, special resources, because that's what important. So they cannot really know where to go and what to do and all, really, because this is very limited time for all of their lifetime. So what we need to do them, and we need to show them where is something good for them, and then they can figure it out and make use of it. But unfortunately, science fairs are really very good. But most unfortunately, even in a town, if a science fair is going on, except 1 or 2 schools, no other schools will allow them to take and children to watch and learn the science in a practical way from other school children, like Inspire program or Inspire Manak program. And there are many science fairs, like Jawaharlal Nehru Science Fair in India. Of course, that is one point. But however, another good program, National Children's Science Congress. That's a wonderful program from Government of India, and then a lot of children are participating. I am also encouraging at this Inspire program or Inspire Manak program, or in fact that National Children's Science Congress program. But that National Children's Science Congress program is greatly helping children to really understand the scientific method, because scientific method really helps children to become wonderful personalities, like working with a question and the observation, adding a question tag to like even Sir C.V. Raman just added a question like why? Because he observed the fact while he's coming from Europe that, why the sky is blue and the sea is blue. And for that, he added the question that why. That is where, with the investment of 300 rupees for his experiment, he could able to prove it why, and he found it a correct conclusion for his hypothesis. Ultimately, that has made him, and at least we are proud that India has at least one Nobel Prize winner from India. But however, it is required many more people, because that is going to give us many more core science concepts that a number of thousand various engineering applications can come from each single individual science development. So one science concept can bring us thousands of engineering applications where the technology can come forward. Or otherwise, what's happening? Not that some neighboring countries, not that other countries are patenting in thousands and India could not. No, it is not the question. Indian science is really going good. Like I've seen many Indian science institutions like CCMB, IICT at Hyderabad, and NIN, and the National Institute of Nutrition, National Physical Lab at Delhi, and then National Chemistry Lab at Pune. There are near about 38 national CSIR national labs are there working wonderful. The eminent scientists are working day and night, developing a lot many great concepts for all our Indian needs and all whatnot, like even defense applications and all. And anyway, you all know that software Indians are doing excellent. But the thing is, in my 6th grade, I have this question. My science madam, I must recollect today on this National Science Day, her name is Vijay Kumari madam. And then I think she is now 72, I believe so. So even now at her age 72, she teach me a lot. And with her inspiration, she produced me with all the questions. So in the 6th grade, she taught me about Thomas Alva Edison invented the bulb. Then immediately my next question to her is, Madam, how he invented? She answered me, you go and ask him. I don't know where is he, but still I wrote it on my book. Yes, I need to go to Thomas Alva Edison and then I must ask him how you made it. Then I wrote it on my book. Almost for a year, it is there in front of me. And that is the day that I felt that day is not really far off. And then I reached to United States, maybe little few later years, but ultimately I figured it out how he invented. By the time he is no more, Little Al is no more. But I could understand what not much from that Edison Foundation, what all the things they have done there, Edison City, New Jersey. So in fact, I came to know not only the bulb invention, there are near about, I believe, 1093 inventions he did. And just imagine on every single invention, how many innovations have come all across the globe, how many people have innovated the basic concept of the light itself. So in India, we need to, I have come across a lot of times, even teachers are not really known to the fact that what is the invention and what is the innovation. The difference is not well defined in the. So that's where I am really working with all the teachers and recollecting my own science madam and respecting science and science teachers all the way. So I make them understand. That's where I do a lot of science training and all to the a few thousands of science teachers were trained through my various RMSA programs and all that. So that is one way I'm happy about all that. And at the same time, the problem what I have come across Indian students, they are not really connected to outside world. That's another biggest problem what I have come across. So like, suppose say there's a global science competition called Google Global Science Fair. Earlier they used to say, now it is only Google Science Fair. That's it, GSF. So I think only once, because every year they select near about 15 finalists. And I think only once a girl from Orissa just became a 15th finalist. After that or before that, I'm not sure. We need to check back again. Okay, but why is that? But however, Indian origin children from United States or UK, they are all excellent. They are doing well. They are becoming finalists, but not from India. So there is something missing. Not that, so how do we prepare our children to that global standards from the local? Another important question ringing in my mind, and for which I'm putting my efforts. So I don't know how many of them are on the way. But as I'm keep on putting efforts, but I respect the science principle. The result what you get is the proportional to the effort what you put. So I keep on doing the effort. So results will be on the way. But a lot of times, some success stories are there in front of me. One or two I can choose. So one of my student, I can say, so worked very hard with me, and also she became a CEO of IB Hubs, and then finally she is with near about 500 IITians working day and night, and mentoring a lot of startups. So that's where that is IB Hubs and all. And another student, first student from my first scientific motivational demonstration is Bolli Venubabu. He has become an agricultural country pride agricultural scientist, plant protection officer working with Government of India. And similar, let me come to conclusion for today's talk. And then another very much well-connected student he just started EV battery manufacturing with near about 20 PhDs working from various premier institutes of science like ISC Bangalore and IITs and all that, and few scientists he hired from even Germany and Singapore also. With this, what I wanted to say with all of you, so there are some good resources like India Science Channel and RSTV Eureka programs, which can really great help, and also Vishwesvaraya Industrial Technological Museum at Bangalore. And we have so many national science museums, and children can be connected to these field trips into this kind of areas. And children also need to be connected to industries. And we need to make them understand legacy to the latest and get inspired by the great personalities. With this, how our young generations can be turned as entrepreneurs so that really wealth can be created. So how curiosity can put onto the global platforms, and how our Indian students can compete with international science and technology concepts, and how they can become wonderful, unique persons in the universe through science and technology related. So with this, I think my time has come to close. So I request, today's my participants, those who can watch this Zoom call, through my scientificstudents.com. But last but least, another 1 minute, I just wanted to wrap up with one particular thing, like COVID-19 knows, it handled only the humans, maybe 0.01%. It reached, and then finally people found a vaccine to the virus. But however, there is something else beyond COVID that we all need to work with, like, that's global warming. Global warming knows to handle every single living being, not only humans, all planets, all animals. And we have seen the bad effects, side effects of the global warming, how the climate changed, and how we are missing the seasons itself. And then how we are against nature with our air conditioning, how long we continue this way, how many more ACs has to be put for every single room itself. So how do we address this? Like, don't you think that that our next generations must continue happy living on this mother planet, because mother planet has given more than our own mother. So that's where I started working with renewable energies. That's where I've developed a few resources on the website. So I kindly request all of you to visit that scientificstudents.com/solarlab.html. Even now, the entire power what I'm using here is my own power, self-powered secured power. I don't have to worry about anything else, because last couple of months I worked very hard to design and develop the entire solar power system here on my roof, and then my entire home is now on solar power. So I'm very confident and comfortable. That's where I'm importing. Since last 2 years in the this particular Corona pandemic time, I prepared thousands of children through my webinars and all why we need to go on solar, and also developed the science and technology so that with the given parts they themselves can do all that, whatever solar things. I have a lot of demonstrative stuff with me. In the next upcoming unique session, one day we will be doing with our utsAhin program all about the live practical one. I will demonstrate all the models and develop working with solar and all. And also I have 2 windmills on my roof, because wind is very promising energy. I really feel very happy whenever my power totalizer measures the wind energy, and I feel really that's because cool energy, no? So we are converting the cool energy into the power, because every single watt really counts. Because earlier, before, how much coal we are burning? 87% of Indian energy requirement is from the coal and the fossil fuels like all this. So we are really against, the climate, against the nature. So because of burning and all that. So that's where I said, why use local energy from the mother planet? Why can't we use the global energy given by the sun god? So we need to understand all that. That is another important resource which I have developed. We all can witness is scientificstudent.com/windtech.html. So that in a nutshell way, that explains the solarlab.html will make you understand all about global warming, climate change, what all the workshops I have conducted, and a little bit of my subject knowledge is given there. Like every 6 months I update all that, but during last 5-6 months I could not get really time to do. But earlier, before last couple of years, what all the things I done. So with this, I think about particular reimagining education post-pandemic, we have to prepare. Finally, what is my conclusion is, we have to prepare the creative children. We have to help them continue their creativity, and let's raise their imagination, and in fact, let's continue their questioning minds, and let us encourage them and let us support them. That is what I must thank our government of India giving me an opportunity to serve the nation through Niti Ayog's initiative, Atal Innovation Mission, as a regional mentor of change. So near about 9,700 Atal Tinkle labs are supported through RMOC network of entire nation. So I'm really helping all children to work with innovations and inventions and their creations. So on this National Science Day, I must again congratulate all the students to celebrate in a big way. Science is the solution. Science for humanity. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Srinivas Garu. I know it goes on, and eagerly waiting for your next part 2 of the session. And really kudos for a commitment towards a change. And that was really incredible. And thanks for sharing your personal experiences and thoughts on today's topic. Kudos, sir. And coming to the next segment, we have the
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Made in India, make in India. Skill India, school India. That is my one particular statement. And second thing is that we always say Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Jai Vignan, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, sir. And we have the next speaker who doesn't need any introduction at utsAhin, Mr. Anirban Paul, who is a co-director at utsAhin Awakening Hearts platform and core member at utsAhin. And he's an accomplished IT professional by profession and by passion. He's a mentor to thousands of students, teacher, Sushumna Kriya yoga trainer, multilingual, multi-talented, and the list goes on. Sir, Anirban, sir, over to you.
Hearty good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the viewers from different parts of the globe, both who are seeing live as well as people who may be seeing the recording. I think thank you, Charan, for the beautiful introduction, and Srinivas ji, really very, very both inspiring and informative talk. I do believe all our viewers will take a few cues from everything that you mentioned. And yes, I will have a personal conversation with you later on all topics of common interest. That being said, with regard to today's theme, which is reimagining education in post-pandemic India, the first thing I will say is a lot of teachers, educationists, whether they be in the primary, secondary, higher secondary grades, or even in graduate, undergraduate, postgraduate, or corporate education, feel that the distributed nature of education during the pandemic has created chaos. They believe that this has created a mechanism of non-physical contact-based education that is a challenge for many, both the teachers who try to impart curriculum or syllabi, as well as the learners who try to learn things, whether they be students or whether they be corporate learners at all levels. However, I would say post-pandemic, I think all of us have gone through various experiences of both learning, teaching, that has shown us that there is no other way but only to ensure that we have both physical and non-physical, which is virtual education. Like Srinivas was also mentioning, activity-based education, peer learning, self-enabled education, and all other such means of education to be involved. For example, Srinivasji was mentioning about simple homemade do-it-yourself kits. Do-it-yourself kits is a great way of learning, but I think we should extend that beyond just do-it-yourself kits into everything that you learn. Enable that learning to be practicalized by simple things that you observe in life. For example, science can be taught in the home kitchen. Science can be taught in the home garden. Science can be taught, in fact, medical science and biology can be taught just by taking care of your own self a little better. And these are opportunities for us in the post-pandemic India, where I do believe that when children are being taught, teachers have the great and wonderful opportunity of integrating the kitchen as the science lab, which the student is missing while they're studying at home. Whether you're talking about citric acid in lemons, or whether you're talking about the lemon acting as a cell with a zinc and copper electrode, simply because of the acid reacting with the metal and creating, or they extend that to various simple reactions of how vinegar or acetic acid reacts with, let's say, baking soda and creates an effervescent mixture, which can then be used to demonstrate a wide variety of simple models. I think all of these little experiments can be practiced even while the child is at home. And then a second part of the post-pandemic education, especially for school children, is to inculcate and involve parents in the mechanism of learning. Often parents send children to schools and expect that schools will do miracles with their children, whereas today you can involve the ownership of parents. So rather than looking at post-pandemic education as, especially in the virtual mode, as a hindrance, or a distributed mode of education as a hindrance, look at this as an opportunity. You have a physical counterpart in your parents, involve them in your educational processes. Change your educational structure of mechanism and instruction design, rather than to be speaking, listening mode alone, to doing, emoting, not just doing, but also emoting, involve emotions, build in the child the aspiration and the inspiration, both through your personal stories as well as through mechanisms of learning that will inspire the student to learn about themselves. Like Srinivasji was mentioning, for example, you can take a cue and find out what is the student specifically interested in doing himself or herself? What is the student's core strength? Is the student a musician in the making? Is the student a artist in the making? Is the student a scientific temperamental person, a physicist in the making, a doctor in the making, an engineer in the making, or whether the student is an economist in the making? Teachers need to identify this early and give home-based assignments. These assignments must be practicalized, which can involve both creating models as well as publishing articles and things, and involve the parents in the whole process. This will ensure that in post-pandemic India, you're making a better India with students that are both well-informed as well as who have that element of application-oriented education. Education that's not just learned for getting a grade or a certificate, but something that they can apply in their real life, something that they can see in real life models. So I can recall during the National Science Week in my own childhood days, although we had a physical school education system, a school used to give us one activity every week. Some of these used to be literary activities where you have to go and make lectures or essays in different levels, or there were activities that would involve building physical models, science models that you build at home using home-based products or things that are easily available at any grocery store or retail store. And then you have to come and demonstrate them during the National Science Week, both at the school education, which is the school exhibition environment, as well as few selected models would then be promoted to district and state education fairs. We also had our fathers and people in the industry come up and show models, because I was a part of a heavy water plant Tuticorin, which is part of Department of Atomic Energy. They had a system of having a science exhibition and a fire and safety week celebrated all through the end of February until 4th of March, where models from industrial units were actually brought in, and people would show practicalized science, right from how do fire extinguishers work to how does uranium fission work with a real piece of uranium. They would not really show fission to us, but they would show us what is uranium, the chart of how uranium gets split, for example, etc., in producing atomic energy. And they will show us models of each of the nuclear reactors, three-dimensional sections. Today, with the advent of 3D printing and all that, these are much more easier to do as student projects at home for the higher educational students. Corporate educationers or students in the postgraduate sciences, they can be given activities beyond just their curriculum grades into activities that are social and human oriented, meaning give them collaborated social projects which they can work on collaborated platforms and actually make contribution, whether it's contribution to an open source community, whether it's contribution in the form of a new design thinking approach to solving an existing problem and publishing a paper about it. Involving this kind of additional social oriented education is very important today. And I think in post-pandemic India, today we know that collaborative virtual learning and self-learning, where you give someone a project and you make them work on it themselves, is something that is an active model that all of us should involve and encourage our learners. That is a full-oriented education where the learner self-learns and then grade them according to their abilities, key abilities. Different people have different talents, and then build them into their future for what they were made for. I think that will be my message for all of our educationists in post-pandemic India. Let us use the situation and the opportunity of both physical and virtual education in a hybrid mixture by involving the physical touch with the extension beyond the school community. Involve the parents of your learners if they are children, and involve peers if they are adult learners, meaning any learner beyond the 10th standard, 11th, 12th, graduate, undergraduate, or corporate learners. Let them learn from peers. Let them give each other peer exercises or peer challenges, and let them make them as educational projects, and let the peers evaluate each other. Let them all submit it collectively, and let the peers vote for each other. This way, they learn social, acceptance. They learn collaboration. They learn a much larger approach of humanism. So, socialism, humanism and collaboration should also improve along with moral values and ethical respecting of each other, apart from the subject matter of concern alone. For children, gardening projects, photography or hobby-based projects, kitchen-based projects, including things like cook a dish, cook your favorite dish and show it. These can be assignments which will involve in them the other arts apart from the pure sciences. And all of this is something that is practically possible today in the post-pandemic situation in a virtualized, physical education model. Thank you all viewers for allowing me to share my views. Good luck, and back to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Anirban sir, for your inspiring talk as always. And let me share a few of my learnings in today's session. And today's session by our guest speaker, Srinivas Garu, has been very, very inspiring, as I already said. And so your first question, where is science? And your concept of happy schooling, your works towards building critical thinking and creative thinking in students, your initiative of Children's Circuit Lab. I've also personally visited your page on scientific students, and which is very, very amazing and thought-provoking, sir. And from the days of seeing a dial-less telephone to building a telephone by your own, to inspiring lakhs of students across globe, your journey is inspiring. So the example of switching off and on in the light shows the curiosity of learning in you from your childhood. So listening to you, I could understand you have the same curiosity even now. So the message you gave today of building a nation of scientific temperament, the nation of young achievers, the nation of thinkers, the innovators, the leaders is definitely going to be a reality soon. I'm sure the leaders like you will make it possible. And I'm sure your dream of getting a Nobel Prize to one of the students will be really will be a reality soon. And thank you so much again, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sai. Yeah, and in fact, I'm thankful to Ram sir for giving me this great opportunity to meet you all. And now you all have raised my responsibility to more work. Now, I think near about 14 hours a day, I'm focusing and concentrating onto this scientific activity. I'll try my level best to increase those working hours as well, and then try to build the scientific India. And I must also thank Professor Acharya ji, in fact, Lead India founder, and we worked with Dr. Kalam. So because he is the one who understood that I'm working on scientific temper, and that's where Acharya ji has connected, given me a good family, utsAhin, through which, so that I cannot forget to mention Dr. Acharya ji to help me, in fact, make me as head of the scientific temper for Lead India, connecting and 20 course youth of this nation. I wish I will try to complete his wish and then take rest like Kalam later. So I can promise now itself that till my last breath that I work for the nation, and especially for the school children, to raise and develop the scientific temper within every student of this nation, so as to have India's flag always up above. So yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. And that was really amazing, and many learnings from the session, as I already said. And coming to the session from Anirban sir. Sir, your talk today is, as usual, very inspiring. And the message that you shared today to build a system which keeps a track of educational accomplishments, involving parents in today's teaching process, learning by doing, making students understand the scientific temperament, critical thinking levels, and the knowledge levels, and how we can bring out the creativity and creative thinking. The concept of peer learning and improving ethical learning is definitely a point to note. And thank you, both of you, Srinivas Garu and Anirban Paul, for taking your time today for utsAhin and inspiring us. And I would also like to thank Vasuki ji for the welcome prayer, Sangachatvam. It definitely added positive vibrations and energy to the meeting. I would like to especially thank Ravi Garu for technical support today. Thank you, and all the team of utsAhin for making it a vibrant platform, and all the participants for joining the session live. Thank you so much. And it's time to end the session with a prayer by Piali ji. Piali ji, you're on mute. Over to you.
Ma'am, you're still on mute.
There might be some technical issue. Anirban sir, can you take it?
1 second. I'm just making her a co-host, and I'm sure it will work out. Ma'am, can you unmute yourself now?
Yeah, I'm good. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. May we march forward with a common goal. May we be open-minded and work together in harmony. May our prayers be one. May we belong to one brotherhood. May our aspirations be harmonious. May our minds be in unison. May we strive to reduce disparity. May we be bound in strong fellowship and unity. Sangachatvam.
Sangachatvam. And thank you, Piali ma'am. And I request everyone to stand up for the national anthem.
Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravid, Utkal, Banga, Vindhya,
Himachal, Yamuna, Jaladhi Taranga, Tab Shubh Naam ye jaage, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाए तब जय जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे, ना भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे, जय हे, जय हे, जय 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 जय।
Shall I leave the meeting?
Yes, sir. We can end the meeting now. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for joining, sir, and taking your time.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to have a talk on our utsAhin platform.
Thank you, sir.